Okay. Hi guys, my name is Seher Gurwal, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about hats. First, I want to get a question in your guys' mind to start thinking. If you could wear any hat, what would it be and why? For me, it would be a sports hat like this one, or just a hat that I received as a gift. This is from my sister. Usually I wear them backwards. Today, I'm going to be talking about hats and how it's just not an accessory. It's a sort of a way to express yourself. That's how I feel with them. I have 35 hats that I've collected over the past couple years, and I feel like that's just a way for me to add on to who I am and my being, and also to my outfits. Like this one matches my outfit because it's navy blue. So I'm going to be talking about the history and how they were important throughout time, the cultures that they could be important for, and modern uses. So my first point is the history, or throughout time. So you see here you have Queen Elizabeth, and on your left you have Lady Gaga. Both two different people for two different parts of the world. She was a monarch, and she is an artist for the industry. So you see here she's wearing a hat here, she's wearing a hat here. I believe this was at the AMAs. So Queen Elizabeth wore hats as a statement, a political statement. She wore it everywhere she would go. It was always part of her outfit, as you can see. Lady Gaga wears it as a way of expressing herself. Very unusual hats than what you would see normally. So, Queen Elizabeth got into the Hall of Fame for hats because she wore it all the time for her 70-year reign. And hers were very unusual. So, according to JSTOR's article, many women even adopted a white suffrage hat, being part of their wardrobe of fashionable women of the day. So during the suffrage movement, it was for the women, and they adopted hats as a political statement to show that they can be in roles that men were predominantly dominant in, right? So that's why they wore hats as a symbol for empowerment, much like Queen Elizabeth is today. And so the hat became a symbol of that. And according to CNN, Alicia says that over her 70-year reign, she helped cement the hat as a symbol of high society sophistication. I bring this up because a hat isn't just something that's just like that. She brought it as a way of being sophisticated, added it to her outfit, and was like, I'm going to be a powerful figure, and this is how it's going to be shown, just like the women of the suffrage. And so I assume Lady Gaga could have been inspired by that as well, to wear hats like this, because to make a statement of I'm not just a hat, I'm not just wearing a hat just like that. My next point is that hats were important throughout cultures. I'm going to be talking about the Mexican culture and the French culture. In the Mexican culture, they wore sombreros, and in French culture, they wear berets. In the Mexican culture, it was used as protection from the sun because mariachi bands would perform outside. It would get really, really hot, right? But it was also just a way of representing their heritage and who they are. French people wore it because it was adopted from the military at the time, and a lot of artists or intellectual people would wear it most of the time. And it became a symbol of their culture, and honestly, you can tell that if anyone's wearing a sombrero, they're probably part of that culture. If anyone's wearing a beret, they're part of that culture. And it became just very significant. And according to Rustin Rich Headwear in France, hats represented an artistic and intellectual atmosphere. Berets were worn because it became a symbol of their history. Hats and culture have such a significant role, whether that be for identity, social status, or history. It is a simple thing that means a lot. And I think that goes for all cultures that wear hats. I mean, I'm part of the American culture. We wear sports hat, right? Or it's something to represent our teams. And I think that became a symbol of that. We're able to find people that we connect with through hats. And looking at them today, they're very modern. And they're not really used as political uses as much. And they're used for protection from the sun, right? So my last point brings about modern uses. And we're going to go here. So you see this graph here. A lot of people wear hats for protection is this red line right here that goes up. And I brought up the chef hat because that's also something that's modern use now, right? I also wear hats for protection of the sun, but honestly, half the time it's not even forward, so I get sunburned anyway because I like wearing my hats backwards. And according to Harper's Bazaar, hats have certainly had their time in the sun. They offer protection from the elements. So hats are still a way of expressing yourself, but a lot of people do wear sun hats, those big floppy hats on the beach or anything to protect themselves from the sun. And you look here, I bring up the chef hat. A lot of chefs have hats mainly for safety, like sanitation from their hair falling or sweat falling into the food, which would not be very nice to eat. And so this, according to Escoffier, chef hats have indicated factors such as title, rank in the kitchen, and even their level of expertise. The more style or the more height says a lot about the rank of the chef, like head chef or sous chef. So as you can see, hats have a lot of modern uses. They have rank, like some chefs have really, really, really tall hats. Some chefs have really, really small hats because they're just starting out, which is okay, right? And so that brings me to the end. So hats have very important roles, as I have been able to talk about. And it's not just an accessory, which is something I want you guys to think about, that it's very different. And it's so much more. And it's being a statement throughout history, a symbol through culture, or something as simple as protection from the sun. Thank you.